On the evening of February 9th, 2004, almost 18 years ago, Maura Murray crashed her car on Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire, never to be seen again.
When you dial 911, you expect help to arrive, sirens, flashing lights, and someone to save you. But sometimes, help never comes. Sometimes, the caller disappears before responders even make it to the door. No body, no trace, only the recording remains. Tonight, we're listening to 3 real-life 911 calls that ended with silence because the person on the other end was gone. Welcome to the Lost Tapes 404. I'm your host, and these are 3 disturbing 911 calls that ended with the caller vanishing. February 9th, 2004, 21-year-old Maura Murray, a nursing student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, emails her professors to say there's been a death in the family, but there wasn't. She tells no one where she's really going, only that she'll be gone for a few days. Earlier that afternoon, Maura withdrew $280 from an ATM, captured in the last confirmed video footage of her alive. She then stopped at a liquor store, purchasing boxed wine in Kahlua. Hours later, she's driving north on Route 112 toward the White Mountains of New Hampshire, alone in freezing temperatures. At 7:27 p.m., several residents hear a loud crash. Maura's black Saturn sedan had spun out on a sharp curve near Woodsville, New Hampshire. The airbags deployed, the windshield cracked. A local bus driver named Bush Atwood stopped and offered to call for help. He later told police Maura seemed nervous but uninjured, insisting she'd already called AAA, something investigators later confirmed wasn't true. She thanked him, smiled, and told him she was fine. Atwood drove home and called 911 at 7:43 p.m. to report the single-car accident. When police arrived 10 minutes later, Maura was gone. Her car was locked, and inside they found the boxed wine partially spilled, the airbags deflated, and a rag stuffed into the tailpipe, possibly an attempt to muffle smoke. Her debit card, cell phone, and keys were missing. Officers scanned the snowy ground for footprints, but found none leading into the woods or down the road. It was as if she had vanished between the phone call and their arrival.
We did an intensive search of the crash scene area for evidence that she may have walked into the woods. Nothing like that was uncovered.
Investigators pieced together her final digital trail. Emails to her boyfriend, searches for directions to Burlington, Vermont, and lodging in the mountains. Her dorm room back at UMass was found neatly packed, with a printed MapQuest route to Vermont on her desk. Some believed she planned to escape her life. Others that she was abducted after the crash. Her father, Fred Murray, has spent 2 decades searching for answers, appearing on 2020, Dateline, and multiple podcasts pleading for justice. He maintains that someone took her that night. Despite years of searches, cadaver dogs, and countless theories online, not a single trace of Maura Murray has been found. Her abandoned car still marks the spot. A haunting reminder of a 911 call, a smile to a stranger, and a young woman who disappeared into the snow. But Maura's story wouldn't be the last time a desperate call for help ended in silence. 6 years later, on the opposite side of the country, another woman would dial 911 in terror, her voice trembling as she begged for help from someone she said was trying to kill her. Her name was Shannan Gilbert. May 1st, 2010, Oak Beach, Long Island. 24-year-old Shannan Gilbert, an escort from Jersey City, was heading to meet a client she'd arranged through Craigslist. She'd done this before, but this night would end differently. At 4:51 a.m., Nassau County dispatchers received a frantic 911 call that lasted over 22 minutes.
Hello? Hello, you dialed into the 911 system. How can I assist you? Hello?
Yeah.
Do you need the police?
Yeah.
Where? Where? Who's there with you? Hello? What's going on?
Well, the afternoon.
What?
The afternoon.
On the recording, Shannan's voice trembles as she pleads for help. They're trying to kill me. Please, somebody's after me.
Somebody's after me. Please.
Are you in Suffolk County or Nassau County?
I'm in Long Island.
Where on Long Island are you?
Neighbors in the gated beach community later told police they heard a woman screaming outside, banging on doors for help. One homeowner, Joseph Brewer, the client who'd hired her, claimed Shannan suddenly became paranoid, ran from his house, and refused to return. He said she shouted that they were going to get her before disappearing into the darkness. Two other residents, Gus Coletti and Barbara Brennan, separately reported seeing Shannan running down the street, barefoot and hysterical, yelling for someone to call 911. Coletti, a retired insurance investigator, phoned the police himself after seeing her vanish behind his backyard fence. But by the time officers arrived, she was gone. The search for Shannan took months, and what investigators found instead would shock the country. While combing the thick marshlands near Oak Beach, police uncovered human remains. Not hers, but 10 other victims, mostly women who had also worked as escorts. The media would later call them the Gilgo Beach murders.
Hey, big news this morning out of Long Island, where accused Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Harriman is set to stand trial. Live to CBS News correspondent Chanel Call. Okay, Chanel, what happened this morning? What does this mean for the case?
Is the accused Gilgo Beach serial killer. He's pleaded not guilty to charges that he killed 7 women.
Shannan's body wasn't located until December 2011, a year and a half after she disappeared. Her remains were found less than half a mile from where her 911 call had been traced. Police initially ruled her death an accident, claiming she became disoriented and drowned while fleeing through the marsh. Her family had never accepted that explanation. Shannan's mother, Mary Gilbert, fought for years to prove her daughter was murdered and that her 911 call was the key. In one interview, she said, "My daughter's screams opened the door to all the other victims." That line would become symbolic, because without Shannan's terrified call for help, the Gilgo Beach victims might never have been found. Even today, no one knows exactly what she saw that night or who she was running from. But her final words still echo through the 911 tape, a haunting plea that led police straight to one of America's darkest secrets. Shannan's final 911 call exposed one of the darkest mysteries in American crime, a trail of victims discovered only because one woman found the courage to call for help. But long before Shannan's voice echoed across the phone lines of Long Island, another woman had made a similar call. It came from a quiet town in Missouri decades earlier, and like Shannan, her plea for help would end in silence. Her name was Angela Hammond. His name was Robert Polson. April 4th, 1991, Clinton, Missouri. 21-year-old Angela Hammond had spent the evening with friends at a backyard barbecue. By 11:15 p.m., she was heading home, driving through the quiet streets of her small town. Before returning to her fiancé, Rob Schaefer, she stopped at a downtown payphone to give him a quick call. The conversation started normal, casual, two people talking about weekend plans and the upcoming baby they were expecting. But then Angela's tone changed. Her voice became uneasy. She told Rob that a strange man in a pickup truck had driven past the phone booth several times, circling the block. "There's a man in a truck. He keeps driving by," she said. At first, Rob brushed it off as small-town paranoia. But when she described the truck slowing down again, his stomach sank. He told her to stay on the line and that he was coming right away. Minutes later, while Rob was racing toward her, Angela suddenly gasped. "He's back," she said breathlessly. "He's got a flashlight. Oh my God!" Then silence. The call went dead. As Rob turned onto the main road, he saw a dirty green pickup truck speeding in the opposite direction. Inside, he thought he saw a man struggling with a woman. Rob made a U-turn and gave chase for nearly 2 miles before his transmission blew out, forcing him to stop. The truck disappeared into the night. Witnesses later described the vehicle as a 2-tone green Ford pickup with a white roof and a large rust spot on the door. The driver was reported as a white male, mid-20s to 30s, with glasses and a beard. Despite an immediate police search, Angela Hammond was never found. Her disappearance rocked the small town of Clinton. Rob, who was the son of a local police officer, was cleared as a suspect early on, but suspicion and rumors haunted him for years. Investigators later suspected her case might be linked to a series of similar abductions in the early 1990s across Missouri, including victims Trudy Darby and Cheryl Kenny. All three women vanished from small towns just hours apart, leading police to believe a serial predator may have been responsible. Over 3 decades later, the case remains open. The only proof of that night's terror is Rob's 911 call. The recording of a man reporting his fiance's scream echoing through the phone line. Angela's voice was heard by dispatch for the last time that night. After that, nothing. Each of these calls began with the same desperate plea. Someone reaching for help in their final moments. But for Maura, Shannan, and Angela, the sound of a 911 dispatcher's voice was the last thing they ever heard. Their stories remind us that not every emergency ends with rescue. Sometimes it ends with mystery. If you found these stories chilling, subscribe to the Lost Tapes 404 for more real horror pulled straight from our world. And remember, when the call for help goes silent, sometimes the silence says everything.